Hey everybody, it's Thursday.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Night Bite.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily. And I have no idea what Josh is laughing
Oh,
about
I'm
tonight.
just sitting here laughing that it's been a year and we're still rolling with that same old intro. And it's more not a laugh of it being funny, just a laugh of nostalgia. It's been a good year of this, and hopefully we have some more clips to put up there soon. So
Josh has come up with a few different versions of new intro, and I just keep shooting him down. And it's not that I don't like the new intros; it's just that I miss those old little clips, just like that Fin Dog in it.
She just likes her hook set.
I do. That was a fun crappie trip. Yeah. Oh my gosh! But with
Ray,
that,
how's it going, Anthony?
We've had a lot of great fishing since we have talked to you guys last. Gosh, we were on the ice all weekend, and we even had a long weekend. So, we were actually not in our local waters. So we like to start off with kind of a fishing report for you. I guess we did fish a little bit of local waters.
A little bit.
We spent most of the weekend kind of up north, Siren, Wisconsin. So if you know the area or otherwise, check it out. But they actually had some great ice conditions up there.
Yeah, people were driving around 14, 16 inches of ice. It was a fun time. We only got the little taco stuck once, but that's a more of a tire issue than a truck issue. But yeah, you caught a nice walleye. We both caught a bunch of nice panfish. It was a fun time. We got to hang out with all the ice junkies. That's our second family, and yeah, that was a good weekend.
It was a really good weekend. I did catch a walleye, which was really a funny surprise because we were just fishing for panfish. I had a tiny tungsten down there, and I was using wax worms. And the funny thing is, I was like, I'm going to upsize to 2 wax worms. I thought that I was like so cool, dropped down there, and lo and behold, it was a walleye. So I guess you never know what's going to happen. The lake that we were on was super, super shallow, and we actually ended up in 4 feet of water.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the lake doesn't get, honestly, a whole much deeper than that. And so it was a lot of just kind of flats and waiting for fish to kind of come around. But we did go kind of ice camping. So we got kind of the run of the day and the night and everything in between for all those different bites. And it did change through that time. So, it was kind of fun to catch all those different multi-species. Josh pulled actually a pretty decent bass on Friday, and that's always fun to see come through the ice. And it was mostly funny because on the tournament that we were, with the Ice Junkies the next day, nobody registered a bass.
Yeah, the only bass we saw
all weekend.
Yeah, and if you guys want to see that secret lure that Emily caught, that big huge walleye on, it's on our Instagram. I put it up there this morning, so check that out. Might be a widowmaker, might not be, but probably is.
It might be.
Yeah, so then we came back down, took a quick nap, and then we went back out on Monday because we both had off, and we went and fished some local waters and got our butts kicked, honestly.
Well, I just think it was one of those times. Sometimes you think of ice season, you spend all summer planning, you have the boat out there, you're scoping out spots. And I think sometimes you end up with tunnel vision of where you think the fish should be versus maybe spending the time to find where they actually are. And that's a funny thing to say because you can't almost kick yourself for that. Because when you identify a habitat, a spot for fish that just is so, I don't know, I'm going to say fishy, what we were looking at is, it's a lake. It gets deep, but there's a lot of different kind of cracks and crevices around it, little bays and whatever. But there is this spot kind of just off the deep basin that has giant tree drops for days. Like, I don't even know how many trees are down there. It is more than 8 and 10 and 12. It is just like kind of piled in some spots and kind of all different depths. So, we went out there and spent so much time looking in these trees, convinced that they would be there. And I guess we learned ultimately that we can roll that out.
Yeah, at least for now. Come the later ice, we'll probably head back over there. But for now, we might go search, other spots on that lake. But we got a bunch of other trips coming up. We have the IGL Panfish Tournament this weekend. We have a cool little weekend with the folks at Razor, up at Mille Lacs the following weekend, and then we're finally back home again. So we'll
For a
see.
short time.
So we'll see how they're acting when we get back home.
And, with that, we would love to hear about your different fishing reports
Yep.
or your ice conditions or how things are where you're at, because, the conditions do change across the different regions and zones and all of that. So even though they might be driving on with trucks in Siren, Wisconsin, I'm not sure if that's what they're doing in Milwaukee. And I'm not even sure if Illinois or other places has ice. So I know Minnesota's doing pretty great in some spots, but again, I don't know those conditions. So if you do, feel free to share that because we love to hear those things.
Yeah.
Also, as we're talking to our guest tonight, if you have questions or comments or things along the way, put that in the comments as well, because we would love to talk about that as we talk with our guests. So let's bring them on.
There you go.
So, the show.
Hi.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, it's awesome.
So I guess, our first question, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Kent Curlyberg, the president and founder of Hero Fishing. Hero Fishing is a nonprofit organization that we have founded since 2017, taking veterans out, veterans, law enforcement, first responders, nurses, doctors. We kind of take out everyone that, or anyone that has been a hero in your life and that you nominate on our website, that we'll take out on an all expense paid trip.
That's actually a very neat opportunity. So how did you kind of come about offering different trips and experiences like this?
It happened, it came from a military background. My father retired at an early age and he was out fishing daily. And he would take everyone out that he could, just have a partner would help with the boat and to share experience with. You teach them how to fish, what to use and what have you. And we kind of, my wife and I started brainstorming about that. Then my brother got shipped over with the National Guard to Afghanistan. He was injured by IED. He was a big fishing proponent and partner with me. So he survived. He's a Purple Heart combat war veteran. So it was honor of my dad and my brother that we got to give back. We got to get more people involved in the sport of fishing, get more people out just so they can relax. And not a lot of people, especially in the Milwaukee area, urban area, have ever been fishing. So it's I've been lucky enough in my life to grow up on the lake, sort of trying to expose as many people as we can to the outdoors and to fishing so we can keep the sport going.
Well, that's actually a really interesting point. I think there's a lot of new people on the ice these days. COVID, people are getting outdoors or trying to get men or women or everyone, involved. But not everybody has that opportunity to have people who are willing to go out with them. That's really funny. So, it's cool that you have that opportunity, that you can connect with these people. But tell us a little bit about taking people out on the ice for the first time. Like, how do you prepare them? How does that go?
Yeah, well, our first event, which is like the most personal to us as an organization, is this year was our second annual Heroes on the Ice in Lake Cascade, Idaho. So it's our biggest trip of the year. This last year we took 2 heroes with us, kind of a research mission, try to figure it all out, see if it was feasible. And this year we took out 4 heroes on an all expense paid trip. And most of them, except for 4 out, I think besides 2 of them were on the ice before. So it was kind of easy. Lake Cascade, the slush, just the conditions alone, even if you're ice fishermen, are not good sometimes. Our first day we had about a foot of just slushy water with sleet at 20 miles an hour. So some of the conditions, but for the most part, some of the newer people that we take out, part of what we do is usually there's 2 of us that are with the organization that go out and are helping with flasher training, helping, we're drilling the holes, we're scooping them, we're training them, setting up the rods so they have a good experience and they can sit and relax and catch fish. We set them all up with all the gear. All they have to do is provide their license. and we pay for it all. But our Lake Cascade trip this year was, our first day was, like I said, the weather was not good. We didn't catch a fish. But everyone had fun. Everyone still had a good time. The second day was on fire. Conditions lifted were good. And with the 2 days of fishing that we had, between 6 guys, we did over 300 perch. So we had a couple guys that were averaging 40 to 50 a person for 2 days. So it was pretty good.
That really is outrageous, and almost super lucky, you know, when you can plan a fishing trip, and especially for people, you know, don't get out all the time and have, well, you know, so I was going to say such fabulous conditions, but, you know, like you said, your first day, you know, was so tough. And what an interesting thing to, you know, kind of work through on a trip.
Yes, our trip started out pretty not so good because 9 or 10 o'clock the night before, American Airlines canceled our flight. Canceled it from Milwaukee. We had 5 heroes flying from Milwaukee to Boise, and then we had another hero that was coming from Tulsa to Boise. So to schedule that all at 1 a.m. in the morning on a new flight that we weren't going to make in Dallas. And then we get to Milwaukee Airport and we switched our airlines to Delta, and they said, we love what you guys do. We told them our story. They said, we will get you to Boise on a different flight. And they got us there 3 hours earlier. And they refunded all of our money. So it was awesome that, you know, and we have great partners in this, because if it wasn't for the community, other, you know, partners that we have, we couldn't be doing this to the level that we are doing it. So,
you know, that is really such an interesting story that you're sharing. Are you then having to fly with your gear?
Yes. One of the 3 days that we had, 2 of them were fully guided, but yes, we flew out flashers. We had all of our rod cases, our Lakewood rod cases that we were flying with. So 3/4 of our stuff we flew out and or shipped through UPS. And then we also partnered up with Valley Bait and Tackle in Cascade, Idaho. We had a kind of a free day on Friday, and there's really not much to do in Cascade or around Cascade besides snowmobiling and, you know, hot springs and elk kind of viewing. So we wanted to give.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. Nothing to do around there.
We wanted to give our guys an experience. It's not just about fishing; it's about the whole experience. And so Valley Bait and Tackle said, what can we do? Well, how can we be a part of this? So they provided a day of fishing. They provided all the snowmobiles delivered to our Airbnb, augers, stuff that we couldn't ship nor was feasible to ship. They provided, no questions asked. So that was a great donation from them, and just added to the experience for these guys, because 2 of the guys were from the U.S. Navy. One's an educator from Randolph School District. He's a superintendent up there, and just it again added to the experience for them, and it's a once in a lifetime trip for some of them.
Absolutely. How long have you been doing this?
We officially kind of had a soft start July of 2017. We started doing it on our own. My wife and I had been financing it up until this point. So as of middle of last year, we hired a company to do our formation for our nonprofit, because it's been getting larger every year, and we want to do more. But it's just with the different tax things, we have to form the company just to be protected and stuff. So
yeah, absolutely. And then are you yourself a fisherman?
Yes. I've been fishing since 5 years old. Grew up on the ice. My dad would work 16 hours a day. And then he would say, let's go ice fishing. We would go out, he would drill the holes, and then my brother and I would just tend the tip ups and pull the northern in and walleye. But yeah, I'm big into bass. We do a lot of night fishing for walleyes. but my kind of real passion, I guess, is muskie fishing. Got turned on to that 2017 and haven't looked back. So it's been awesome.
So we talked about this right before this. Can you finish your story? Because that's like the best part of it.
So I started muskie fishing in 2017. You know, I was just, I've been bass fishing my whole life, and just, it was like, what else is next? And then, you always hear the 10,000 cast, the elusive muskie, and, it's always, so I'm like, I got to try this. I got to try something new. And so I started fishing for it in late 2017, kind of in the fall bite, and really got some follows, but never really, I didn't pull one in. So, but I was still hooked. I was like, it's the chase. So then spring of 2018, one of my good friends is like, hey, do you want to fish the Pewaukee Classic? My partner dropped out. And I'm like, he goes, well, I go, how long is it? He's like, well, it's all day. I'm like, kind of, no. He's like, well, they offer free food at the end. I'm like, oh, cool. He's like, and raffles. I'm like, oh, I'm a raffle guy, so I'm in. So we were fishing, and it was raining, and it was ideal for fishing, but not for fishermen. So I remember we're trying to cut on the outside of a boat as we're trolling around, and I hooked into one and pulled it in. He's like, and it was just a 34 incher, but pulled it in, and ever since then it's been hooked. But that was one of 2 legal fish caught. And like I showed you earlier, so my first tournament ever fished, and it's first place. So I'm hooked.
That is so cool. But, I love that story because that is the kind of experiences that people get to have when they go on, for example, like the adventures that you're offering. People, maybe they've dabbled in something or been interested or heard about stories. And when you can go and experience that firsthand, I mean, there is just so much we started this talking about this walleye. I mean, it's not even the coolest walleye ever, last Friday, but I mean, it was so fun. It was the experience of like pan fishing and catching it on a tungsten jig. Like, I don't care if nobody else thinks that's cool, because to me that was like the best thing ever. And that's that's what you're saying, that you're musky, like those fish, those experiences, like that's what that's all about. And that's what people get to do when they come on those adventures with you.
Yeah, we talked earlier, we had this year alone, we had a 10-year-old hook into a 44-inch muskie. And it was unbelievable, and I showed her book report that was sent, my first muskie, and then at the end of it, this was one of the best days of my life. And it was like her personal best, her first muskie. But also we had a gentleman out in, I think it was our fall fishing in October. Not only did he hook into 2 muskies, but he got his personal best walleye, which was 28 and a half 10-pound walleye. So it's about that, but it's about them, just to look on their face, their camaraderie, about taking them out fishing, and showing them how our helixes work, and different lures and how everything works, and they get a kick out of it, and what products to use, because a lot of people are shy of what jackets to buy and what reels are good and what rods are good, and how to read a flasher, what's a good flasher, and to provide that information to them, to give them some, when they go to buy a product, they're not wasting their money.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point, because, I think a lot of time other people's resources is like the internet and the forums that are out there, the Facebook pages. And, sometimes they can be super, super helpful. And sometimes that is the place to go. But sometimes it is just kind of a crapshoot, whatever gets posted out there.
Exactly.
Sometimes it can be so misleading. So you're right, to have somebody with, opinion who has kind of been able to try out a lot of that gear. I mean, that's a great place to start that conversation.
Yeah, and they get, how many times I wish I would have had hands-on trial on trying something out before I bought it, and they can do that. And that's, like I said, we provide all the equipment. They just have to show up. when we do our charter fishing on Lake Michigan, they just show up. They bring their license and a stamp. We provide everything else. We even fillet the fish at the end and provide a lunch at a separate venue for them. So yeah, it's been awesome.
That is really cool. So, are the trips that you're taking consistent, like you mentioning Cascade, or you mentioning like Michigan? Are those reoccurring, or you mix other things in, or what does that look like?
Yeah, this past year's kind of been. We started out last year with our Lake Cascade trip, first annual. Then we had 5 salmon trips on Lake Michigan. Then we fill it in kind of with just some inland fishing that we do. Just because with some of the heroes with law enforcement and firefighting schedules, we try to fill in when we can. And then we ended with Lake Cascade again this year. But this for 2022, we're going to be doing our salmon fishing. We're also going to be doing a fly tying and fly casting class. We also just brought on a program coordinator that just does our ice fishing. He's volunteering his time to do our ice fishing programming and our fly fishing in the driftless.
Oh, that's cool.
So we're trying to cast our net wide just to cover as many people as we can. Just that need out there to bring a lot of people on and show them the sport of fishing.
Well, and even in just what you mentioned, you have really a huge range of trips there. So, if there's like inland trout, like little streams and stuff, or that Lake Michigan, that's a different boat, different rigs. If you have a panfish trip mixed in, or Lake Cascade, I mean, those are all so very different from each other. So, I imagine that there's something for everyone too, and that is a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, and we base it off because you can nominate any hero on our website, herofishing.org. And we base it off of the fishing, their experience they have. If they have experience on Lake Michigan, we'll take them out walleye fishing on an inland lake, on Lake Geneva during the night, vice versa. So we try to gauge what their experience is and give them something else they haven't done before to show them something new. And hopefully they go, this is, they really enjoy it and they want to continue with it and expand with it because then they at least have an idea what it takes to do that type of fishing. So.
That's really interesting. So you had mentioned that you can nominate somebody. That was actually going to be my next question. Is that like you write an email, send it in? Is there a form that you fill out? What does that look like?
We kind of have a form on our website. Again, herofishing.org under nominate. Basically, we just want to hear your story. It could be, like I said, it could be a military veteran, firefighter, police officer, your teacher. Anyone in your life that had impact in your life in a positive way that you feel that they're your hero, we want to hear your story. And our board, we compile them all, and then we vote on which one's the best story that we have and which heroes fit into the requirement. Like then we contact them for the physical requirements, some with the boats and ice and walking and such. But that's how we do all our nominations. Is all handpicked by their story. So
that's very cool. And so you were talking about your season or whatever ended with Lake Cascade. So when do you have more trips planned for coming up in the future? Or that's just dependent upon, I guess, like who applies?
Yes, we have with the Lake Cascade trip, we had over 1,200 nominations. So we have quite to work with. But right now, we are currently working to go up to Lake Gogebic in the next month or so. And then we do kind of have a private little trip with Ryan from IJO early part of March. He's going to be guiding us.
That's going to be an awesome trip.
And we're heading up to Park Falls for another trip. The 20th during the Battle of the Bago, which we normally would do the Battle of Bago with a couple of heroes with that, but we're going to be heading up to Park Falls to be fishing a semi-private lake. So
that's going to be awesome. We'll be at Battle on Bago probably, so we'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, I missed it last year. I had it all planned. We had 4 heroes with us, and with my other full-time job, I was in COVID quarantine, never had it, but I could not make it. So it was sad, but just
Yeah.
some friends are planning this trip, so we're hopefully we could check out a new lake and it'll be good.
That's awesome. The other thing is, if there's anybody at home that's listening and they want to, help in some way, do you like take gear as contributions to people, or if people want to help in any ways, donations or anything like that? Is this something that other people can get involved with?
Yes, on our website, we do have where you can support our heroes with a monetary donation, and we have set up on all of our pages there. But also is just follow us, share our posts. We're trying to get the word out. Fishing gear, we're always about trying to have people get the right gear. If you ever run into us, last year we gave away a Jiffy E6 ice auger, 2 combo setups. But yeah, we always will take gear just so we can pass it on and give it to people in the hands that they'll use it. So.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I imagine if somebody out there is like a guide or anything, or if of trips that are, accessible. So, if there's somebody out there who can't get on your typical trip, that you have something that's not so hard to get to, or, you can accommodate all those different factors of people, or, I imagine get a hold of you for that too, because gosh, there's all different kinds of people that are dying to get out on the ice.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're working right now with Can-Am. We're trying to get a couple 4-wheelers with tracks, because I know me walking, 45 and I'm done with walking. Especially after last year with a foot of snow down here when we had it. But yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And then as far as, all these different things that you're talking about, the events and the trips and all that, I imagine that's something that you put out on social media. So if people are looking to follow you and hear those stories that you continue to share, how can they do that?
We're on Facebook, Instagram, Hero Fishing USA. That's the easiest way to get a hold of us. And again, on our website, herofishing.org. But yeah, we're constantly on Facebook and Instagram. We're dabbling in the TikTok, but that's scary.
Yeah.
So, that's just not good. But
I hear ya. Oh gosh. But for the people who, are listening and interested in this, there is so much to share and to talk about. So like you're saying, you do have other social media outlets out there that people can follow you, Hero Fishing. So that's going to be a really great time. And I look forward to hearing more about that.
Yep.
Yeah. And the thing with our organization is all of us, we always say we like to fish, but we love to help people. We're all volunteer based. We're not paid a salary. We every bit of what we bring in goes directly to our heroes and to the trips. And we like to do trips that are like we discussed about bucket list, like Lake Cascade, getting people on the big water on Lake Michigan, doing stuff that they normally wouldn't do themselves because they just the unknown. And that's just what we like to do. We like the sport. We like to continue. We want it to grow. And if we can educate more people to about the sport, conservation, getting the young anglers about conservation, that's what we're all about.
Awesome.
That is awesome. And to be honest, we look forward to hearing more about all of that. And hopefully talking to you a little bit. I know sometimes with our other shows, you kind of pop in the comments, and that's always a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to, talking to you there, or talking, seeing the other things that you got coming up. So Awesome. So with that, hopefully everyone goes and checks you out and likes and follows and all of those things. And, thanks for being here with us tonight to talk about all of this.
Well, thanks for having me. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. And to the people at home who are watching, and Spud, I see your comment that Josh is your hero for making your favorite rod. That cracks me up. So thank you guys at home for being here as well, because it's always funny to hear your little comments and questions and things along the way. So with that, we got another full weekend of ice fishing coming up that we look forward to sharing with all of you guys. And otherwise, we'll see you on next week's edition of The Night Bite.
Night, everybody.